So we're out here in beautiful Alpine, Victoria, testing out the brand new Polygon Collosus N8E, and we're going to give you our first thoughts on the bike. We also have the Polygon factory team, and I'm also going to dig into the geometry and specs and let you know everything about the brand new bike. So to the keen eye, this bike looks very similar to the Polygon Mt Bromo, and that's for good reason because it's a freshly updated version. So the main things you're going to notice, the linkage has been slightly tweaked. You're going to have a bigger battery now, so that's 630 watt-hour battery, and then it's also room for a little bit of a water bottle here as well. So all the updates you guys have asked for is been done for the brand new N8E. So digging a bit into the travel and geometry of the bike, so this bike rolls exclusively on 29-inch wheels, and it has 160 millimeters of travel front and rear. So the head angle's at a nice slack 64.5 degrees, and you've got a nice roomy reach. So on the size large, it's 490 millimeters, so that's nice and up to date, along with that super steep seat angle. But what's really impressive is the super short chainstays. So what this linkage allows is having a short 435 millimeter chainstays, which is super rare on an e-bike. So direction changes as well as manuals on this bike is surprisingly easy, which I think really sets this bike apart from a lot of other e-mountain bikes on the market. So digging a bit more into the spec now, so as I mentioned, you've got that larger 630 watt-hour integrated battery, and it's also got the Shimano EP8 motor. So the motor has 85 newton meters of torque and also has a magnesium casing, which makes it super light. So moving on to the suspension now, and it's absolutely dialed. So you've got a Fox 38 performance up front, so super stiff fork, which you're going to need on this bike because you're going to be hitting the trails pretty hard. And matched to the rear, you got that super supple Fox X2 shock. So moving on to the linkage now in a bit more detail, it's Polygon's 6-bar system. So what this allows the engineers at Polygon to do is independently tune the wheel path as well as the leverage curve. And I think this is really important because on more traditional linkages, you're always going to end up with a compromise between the wheel path and the leverage curves. So to tune that independently is absolutely huge. So what this linkage really allows is to have the best of both worlds. It's going to climb, it's nice and supple, and there's a decent amount of progression there, so it's really going to resist those bottom outs too. Checking out the brakes now, and again, super important when it comes to the e-bike, you've got that extra weight there. So you've got Shimano XT 4-piston brakes, which to be honest are one of my favorite on the market, and they're matched to 203 rotors front and rear. So stopping on this bike is not going to be an issue. In terms of the drivetrain, there's a bit of a mix. So you've got the Shimano XT shifter as well as the derailleur. But what I do like is that you've got the Shimano Dior cassette. So this cassette, all steel cogs, so it's just going to wear a little bit better, which I think on an e-bike is really important. So checking out the cockpit a little bit more, you've got the nice Shimano switch, so you can easily check your assistance level at a glance. So you've got the 4 assistance levels: off, eco, trail and boost, and there's also a handy walk mode. But on the switch here, it has LEDs and that will give you an indication of what assistance mode you're in. But also there's the nice clean display as well, and that's going to give you a bit more detail about everything that you're looking at. And then on the tires, as I said, you're going to be hitting some gnarly stuff on this bike. So you've got super grippy Schwalbe Magic Mary tires, and they're in the soft compound, and they're on tubeless ready rims as well. So who's this bike for? And I think it's for someone who absolutely essentially rails the descents, because that super big battery, you're going to be able to shut up some big alpine descents like we have here in Bright. So if you're hitting some gnarly descents, so advanced stuff, even some pro lines every now and then. The main trails that really justified this bike out here was the World Cup descent, as well as the really big jump lines. But I think this bike's really going to be well suited for those essentially self-shuttling, and then if you're going to be doing some pretty gnarly stuff, as I said. So if you're coming from an enduro bike and you're hitting the descents pretty hard, or you've already got an enduro e-bike, I think this is going to be a great option for you, and you'll be able to get the absolute most from that Fox X2 shock in the rear. But I want to stress this enough, those super short chainstays still make this bike really playful too. So that's the brand new Polygon Collosus N8E. We've had plenty of fun on it here out in Bright, tackling the awesome alpine descents. If you want a little bit more detail on the bike, don't hesitate to reach out to one of our gearheads. And as always, thanks for watching. See ya.